Chapter 10, The Age of Exploration. With the halls of knowledge firmly established, humanity opened a new chapter in its story, the Age of Exploration. The cities of the Third Age, now bound together by airways, rivers, and roads, no longer confined their gaze to the familiar horizon. Instead, they looked to distant lands, unknown mountains, shadowed forests, endless plains, and the boundless sea. This era was one of courage, curiosity, careful observation, and the deliberate application of accumulated wisdom. Explorations began along roads, rivers, and coasts, accompanied by chroniclers, cartographers, observers, and masters of knowledge. Every new land was mapped, every plant, animal, climate, and resource documented. Air script tablets and intricate drawings formed the foundation of the first detailed maps, capturing the world's contours with precision. Rivers were measured, peaks marked, valleys described, and the migrations of creatures traced. All knowledge was brought together in the halls of knowledge, analyzed and woven into the greater tapestry of understanding. Exploration was as much cultural as it was geographical. The cities encountered scattered communities that had long lived in isolation, developing their own scripts, customs, and insights. Encounters were deliberate, respectful, and measured. Alliances were formed, knowledge exchanged, and philosophies compared. Each discovery was recorded so that new generations might learn not only the shape of the world, but the richness of human experience. Technological innovation flourished in this age. Ships were strengthened, flying vessels refined, and navigational instruments perfected. Winds, currents, star charts, and even the movements of animals were studied and mastered. Every expedition became a lesson in patience, planning, observation, and responsibility. Risks were embraced, yet each setback was scrutinized, its lessons carefully preserved to guide future voyages. Exploration reshaped the mind as well as the map. The world came to be seen as a living network, where cities, resources, natural forces, and human societies were interwoven. Knowledge was no longer local, it rippled outward with global effect. Every action resonated beyond its origin. Chroniclers of the age recorded not only geography, but also social, ecological, and philosophical truths. The cultural resonance of exploration ran deep. Songs, tales, and legends of distant lands, strange flora and fauna, unfamiliar weather, and encounters with isolated peoples enriched the city's heritage. Rituals and ceremonies were adapted to honor new insights, reinforcing the bond between humanity, nature, and wisdom. Each journey became a living memory, preserved in the halls of knowledge for all to share. The age of exploration was also an ethical awakening. Humanity realized that to know the world was to safeguard it. Knowledge brought responsibility. Every new land was to be respected, every resource treated with care. Animals were observed, plants nurtured, and natural phenomena recorded, all to maintain balance and harmony. Thus, the age of exploration became a synthesis of courage, wisdom, technology, and stewardship. The cities grew into centers that did not merely conserve knowledge, but expanded it. Humanity began to see the world as a living, interconnected whole, where observation, analysis, responsibility, and cooperation formed the bedrock of progress and survival. The chronicles of this era tell of countless expeditions, meticulously documented discoveries, encounters, triumphs, and failures, a testament to the enduring quest for understanding, harmony, and the bond between humanity and the natural world. This age laid the foundation for centuries to come, where the principles of the halls of knowledge would guide an ever more intricate and interconnected world. Chapter 11. The Masters of Nature. With the age of exploration dawned a new era, later sung as the Age of the Masters of Nature. Humanity had learned that knowledge alone, stripped of reverence and understanding, was hollow. The ancients had left their tools, their machines, their cities, and the sky itself had become a highway of connection. But the true foundation of generations yet to come was the mastery of nature, the insight into its secrets, and the art of living in harmony with its power. The masters of nature were neither sorcerers nor gods, but watchers, seekers, and stewards. They listened to the wind, traced the flow of water, read the pulse of the earth, felt the heat of fire, and spoke with plants and beasts, not for gain alone, but to see the invisible threads that bound all things. Every leaf, every river, every cloud, every winged creature was part of a vast living web whose patterns and rhythms revealed themselves only to those who observed with care, recorded with patience and acted with wisdom. Building upon the legacy of the ancients, they forged machines that moved with currents and thermals, that danced to magnetism, that obeyed the laws of the world itself. Canals guided the waters, wind towers captured the breath of the skies, and observatories charted the heavens with unwavering precision. Yet all their inventions bowed to nature, for mastery without respect was not mastery at all. Cities became sanctuaries of wonder. Halls of the masters rose alongside the halls of knowledge. Here plants thrived under careful eyes, animals were studied with devotion, storms were watched, and machines were tested in harmony with the world. Every discovery was chronicled, every theory tested, every experiment a conversation with the laws that governed all things. Students learned not only to know, but to see, to measure, and to act with conscience. From their studies arose a philosophy. Those who understood the forces of the world bore a sacred duty. Knowledge was never a treasure for the self alone. It served the balance of humanity, of society, and of the earth. Mistakes were lessons, not punishments. Disrespect for nature left scars that all could see. Each generation learned that observation, humility, and care were the true instruments of enduring action. The masters were also keepers of wisdom, travelers of knowledge. They worked with chroniclers, teachers, merchants, and guides to carry understanding across cities, along rivers, roads, and airways. Their insights of plants, beasts, water, and sky spread like light through the halls of knowledge, and the principles of nature became the pulse of every city, the rhythm of every life. Their influence flowed into culture and spirit. Music rose from the sighing of the wind, poetry bloomed like flowers in the sunlight, festivals honored the turning of the seasons, the constellations of stars, the migrations of birds, the cycles of all life. Symbols carved in halls, etched upon plazas, and raised on towers reminded every citizen, you are part of a greater web. Survival, wisdom, and community were inseparable from reverence for the world itself. They shaped not only hearts, but cities and kingdoms. Decisions over land, water, harvests, trade, and defense flowed from careful observation and long vision. Alliances were strengthened by knowledge. Those who understood the forces of nature could wield them without harm, and conflicts faded before insight. Thus rose the age of the masters of nature, a luminous weaving of knowledge, craft, philosophy, and responsibility. Humanity of the Third Age came to know that true progress was not in machines alone, nor in scrolls, nor in distant lands, but in understanding the living world and harmonizing with it in every thought and deed. The chronicles tell of countless generations, watchers, teachers, and masters, who day by day, year by year, studied wind, water, earth, plants, and beasts, who conducted experiments, built machines, nurtured life, and honored the sky. Every act, every word, every invention was a step toward enduring balance, a legacy that would shape the halls of knowledge, the cities, and the generations yet unborn. Chapter 18, The Age of Star Maps. With the dawn of the masters of nature, humanity turned its gaze skyward, opening a new chapter of wonder, the mapping of the heavens. The age of star maps was an age of awe, where the stars no longer merely adorned the night but whispered secrets of order, rhythm, and cosmic harmony. The people of the Third Age learned to read the sky as a mirror of the world itself. Every constellation, every lunar path, every wandering planet was traced, measured, and inscribed in air script. Young apprentices spent years beneath the night, following the arc of planets, the slow dance of stars, and uncovering patterns hidden in apparent chaos. The halls of knowledge transformed into temples of astronomy. Observatories crowned rooftops and platforms, towers reached skyward, bending wind, light, and line of sight into perfect instruments. Ancient devices, revived from the ruins of the old world, measured angles, heights, and distances with unparalleled precision. Kites, balloons, and early flying machines rose as mobile observatories, giving the heavens new perspective and revealing the unity hidden in the stars. Star maps were both compass and creed. They guided travelers across land and air, predicted harvests, measured water's rhythm, and shaped alliances. Yet they were more than tools. They were lessons in patience, observation, foresight, and the recognition that every motion in the cosmos was bound to another. Their creation was a sacred collaboration. Observers, chroniclers, teachers, and children worked together, each insight debated, each calculation tested. Mistakes were not shunned, but embraced as gateways to deeper truth. The resulting maps did more than chart the sky. They reflected the subtle threads of cause, effect, and interconnection binding the universe. The stars inspired art, culture, and ritual. Constellations were carved into symbols, woven into music, immortalized in sculpture and story. Festivals rose and fell with the rhythm of celestial cycles. Human life itself became a reflection of the heavens. Every city read the maps in its own voice, yet the principles of order, rhythm, and responsibility remained universal. This was an age of networks and exchange. Observations, charts, and theories flowed between cities, corrected, enriched, and expanded. Air routes and rivers carried knowledge swiftly, making wisdom a shared treasure of all. Through the star maps, humanity learned the balance of freedom and duty. Those who understood the heavens could navigate, make decisions, and foresee nature's forces. But each act bore consequences, for the world and the community responded to human choice. Astronomy became both guide and moral teacher, blending practicality with profound insight. By the close of this era, humans had charted the heavens and in doing so charted themselves. The star maps became sacred symbols of the bond between sky and earth, knowledge and responsibility, observation and action. They embodied the wisdom of the Third Age, precise yet living, scientific yet spiritual, entwined inseparably with the life, philosophy and culture of the cities. If you want, I can also craft a version that reads like an ancient myth or prophecy, where the age of star maps almost feels like a legend, with celestial forces personified, and the cities themselves depicted as living participants in the cosmos. This would make it even more epic and timeless. Do you want me to do that?